The history of GG4G. We're a men's connection ministry based out of the church at Rancho Bernardo. It's kind of ironic, but our church is actually an old movie theater. In 2011, I do a lot of work with Awana, a lot of volunteer with Awana. I don't know if you know what Awana is, but it's basically a Christian kids middle of the week ministry, kind of like Boy Scouts in some ways, and we do games and things like that. And so over that time, I started talking to meeting different people. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so Star Wars is kind of my thing. And so I met this guy through the church and stuff. His name is Kevin Hickok. He's a huge Green Lantern fan, and unfortunately Kevin couldn't be here today because his son was in a major bike accident yesterday. So prayers for him would be great. His little boy's name is Charlie. He's 9. But anyways, so Kevin and I were talking, and then I just all of a sudden God gave me this idea of I knew another guy that did the games. And he was a Green Lantern fan, and I knew another guy that was he was a Transformers guy. So I was thinking, well, I got all these Christian friends, people I've developed friendships with, and we're all kind of like the same. We're in the same area of things we like. So I said to Kevin, what if we launched a ministry where geeks that like Jesus? And so the end of 2011, we started talking to our small groups leader, and originally our group was going to be called Fanboys for Christ, and we were starting a series called Not a Fan. I don't know if any of you have done the series, where it's basically, you get out of the stadium, out of the sidelines, and get into the game. Don't just be a fan, rah rah Jesus. So the small group leader was like, I don't know if you want to start a group called Fanboys for Christ when we're launching Not a Fan at the same time. So we're like, okay. So Kevin goes, how about Geeky Guys for God? Okay, that works. So we started recruiting some guys, and our first meeting, there was a picture there, we had 20 guys. And it was like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do next month when there's 30? Well, we haven't had that many in the group since. But we developed a mission statement, and it's Assembling for Jesus in Truth, Fellowship, and Service. So what was important for us to start with the ministry was we want to do a Bible study. We also want to go to movies together, and we also want to serve at the church. And then we also had this plan of, what if we could get into Comic-Con? What if we could do some outreach at Comic-Con? So that was kind of a plan down the road. So we started the group. We started with a book that was called, it was based on the apostles. Every chapter was a different apostle, and we meet once a month. And it was kind of interesting because the Avengers came out that same year, and we were like correlating Avengers and apostles and how these groups came together. And so we started going to the movies together and doing our Bible study. Well, basically the first Bible study, we were sitting there, and one of the guys at Church South, I was saying, I'd really like us to have a service project. I think that's important for us at the church to have a service project. He says, well, it just so happens my wife Morgan has this idea for a thing called Bumper Crop. Okay, what's Bumper Crop? Bumper Crop is a food drive every month. So once a month, instead of finding the pin to put your non-perishables in, you just put them on your bumper and go to service. And we just are the grunts to go around and collect them. That seems like a simple task for our church anyways. And so we've been doing Bumper Crop for 2.5 years now. We've probably collected about 4,500 bags of groceries, which is awesome, right? And so over time we've seen some faces change through our ministry. We've seen guys go on to be head usher and not have time for geeky guys, but over time period we've started to develop relationships. Ralph, some of you know Ralph from Christian Comics. Our relationship built with basically a t-shirt. We made t-shirts, the orange ones that were in the video. So my son and I went to WonderCon. We saw this Christian Comics Art Society. It's a perfect opportunity just to introduce ourselves. So, hey, would you like a shirt? Oh yeah, Ralph puts it on, we take a picture, and then our friendship has grown since. We've developed a relationship. So at Comic-Con every year I see Ralph, and we just continue to build that bond. Well, fast forward this year at Comic-Con, So I thought, wouldn't it be great to have a fan table? Those that have been to the San Diego Comic-Con, the fan tables are kind of hidden in the background, and they're on the mezzanine between the two. The main floor has most of the panels, and then you have the exhibitor hall down below. And the fan booths are kind of like out in a cove behind. Like, if you didn't know where they were, you probably wouldn't find them. But they're all a lot of local people, Star Wars clubs, Renaissance, Doctor Who. And so it'd be great to be able to be there for a weekend, sharing the space with people. Because, you know, you guys are guys. It's going to strike some curiosity among people. Well, last year, we decided to start handing out bagels. So, you know, food, when you're Christians, right? You give them food and people come sometimes, right? So we thought, well, what if we just started handing out bagels? And that'll just kind of be the thing. So last year we did that. Daniel, Lucas, and I, and Ralph, we handed out bagels to all fan tables. So fast forward to this year. So I get on the wait list for Comic-Con for a fan table. And, you know, I email the guy once a week. No, sorry, no, sorry. And so I have a friend who's actually on the board of Comic-Con. He's a worship pastor locally up in San Diego. Hey, what should I do? He says, be ready. He says, pack your car, be ready for a table, and then go up to the exhibitors, check the tables. If someone's not filling their table, go check in with the exhibitor booth. So that's what we did. Wednesday night preview night, there's 2 tables not filled. Okay, I'm going to wait till Thursday morning. 2 tables aren't filled. So I go up, take pictures of the 2 tables. My camera, go down to the exhibitor booth. And they say, okay, well, we usually give them till 1 o'clock. So come back after 1. Okay. So then we go back, there's 1 table, dead center of all the fan tables. Go down. To make a long story short, by 4:30 we had the fan table. So God kicked the door open for us to have a presence for Him at Comic-Con. And we had, Matt was there, and then Ryan was covering the table, and Daniel and Lucas. Well received. I mean, we had one comment, I wouldn't even call it a negative comment, it was more like, I don't get it. Geek culture, Christian, that's too myths, or, you know, some guys just didn't get it. Okay, sorry you don't get it. But it was a great way for us to establish it, and now we have it pretty much every year now. So there's another presence at Comic-Con representing Jesus. So this year we kind of branched out too, and we handed out waters outside, and 175 waters on a very humid, hot day. In fact, one of the waters went to a non-believer, but his friend does a podcast, and it's, there he is right there, Tyler, right? Tyler's podcast. Go visit Tyler. He's got a pretty cool podcast, and he's down in the exhibitor hall too. So that water bottle, even though I don't know his friend realized it, got us. He told Tyler about it. Tyler came to see me, and so we connected. You know, when we started a relationship, kind of like when Ralph and I started a relationship. And then Tyler found out about this, so he got a table here too. So it's just awesome to see these connections that we can continue to build. So if you have something going on, or you're at Comic-Con, come see us. If you want to follow our Facebook page, if you want to go out and hand waters out with us, or hand out bagels. We did worship service too. We did pastries and water at the worship service. And the worship service started at 9:30, and it kind of piggybacked into the 10 o'clock, like, what was the crowd called? Christians and Pop Culture, or something to that effect. So the first half hour we had a full band. It was awesome. And because Comic-Con, you know, it takes a while for people to get in, we saw a couple people, and it was like, oh, man, such a light turnout. But by the end of the worship service, the place was rocking. It was a pretty good showing. So yeah, that's pretty much the Geeky Guys history.